Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, you know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
I have it. This is Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab. As you see, it's a live show, so we're getting it done. It looks like we'll have an interview with Commissioner Stills when she gets ready. So let me go to, as he gets the mic there. Hold on. There you go. Ready to go?
Oh, yeah.
All right. He's ready. He's ready.
I
And a little bit of dash and dine. What are your thoughts so far? What have you learned?
Wow, I'm very confident teams in South Carolina State and North Carolina Central. Talking to them and talking to their players, they definitely know what they want to do and just how their approach will be. Along with that, I'll tell you what, I was able to talk to that Howard group over there and you know, defensive end Daniel Brokenberg and also Quentin Williams. And I told Quentin initially, I said, you've been over there, you've been at Howard a long time. It just feels like it. and so he you know, asking him what level he wants to get to just in his progression in his last year, he just says, you know, to finish and really wants to be that, you know, next great, you know, he's in the next great line of Howard quarterbacks that have come through their program, and they feel they can be a winner this season. So, and in addition, I know how we love to talk about culture. You talk about, you know, the aesthetic of HBCU culture, and they have it. They talked about how, you know, when they went and played Harvard last year, how it was really a family reunion of HBCU alums that came to that game, despite them playing away. So them talking about culture was very important. I love that conversation in talking about the MEAC. So, yeah, I love
brought that to the table.
Most definitely. So I'm loving what I'm hearing from everyone so far, and you know, just looking forward to telling, you know, the story of the MEAC.
Right, and it's going to be interesting the rest of the year as we get in. We're coming up on the time. We're going to see if we can get you a couple of interviews, but they're starting to shut a couple of things down. And you know, we weren't able to bring you Milstead of Delaware State or Odums of Norfolk State, but they have been the talk in a lot of ways. Every time you get a break, somebody is going after them. You talked about the other three programs, excited, but they were right next. And I kind of got to sneak and talk with them yesterday to make sure I line them up. So I got to see if I can start working that in when you talk about the 4 interviews we got there. Odums and Milstead, they both wanted to interview, but like I said, they're getting tough on the time there.
Yeah, they are.
We even had a chance maybe to bring in the commissioner, but she's fully engaged in the interview. So let me get some of your final thoughts as we get to it, to see if we can maybe sneak 1 or even 2 more in before we have to make a move.
Again, I think this conference, I think a lot of what you talk about in the beginning has been whether or not they can keep this together. And they simply want to talk about the league and what they have done. And I think that should be the focus. I think there'll be some really good football played this year. I think also, along with coming out of COVID, them not really being able to have everything together, I think you'll see a better brand of football this year in the MEAC. And I think you'll see some surprises really from top to bottom. When you're talking about Damon Wilson, he's proven himself. He'll have that team coached up, but when you're talking about this level of football, you know, he got hired late, so it's playing catch up. He's playing, you know, from, you know, uphill at this point. So we'll see what they do, but they'll be coached well, and I think by the end of the season, nobody will want to play them.
Yeah, great points you make there. Question I have for you, excited about in a lot of things, is the fact as you do this, I always get this thing when I talk to coaches. I like to slide them up or maybe slide them down on my predicted order
Oh
to
yeah.
finish. Has you changed anything? Any coach talked you into saying, well, maybe I need to rethink?
You know what? Howard may have. Howard may have. You know, and just listen to them. And really, it was more players than anything. So I think Commissioner Stills is about to come on over. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So let me get off of here.
Okay, no
All right.
problem. We'll sneak that back out there as a tease as we have the Madam of the Hour, Madam Commissioner Sonja Stills. As we get her ready to go here, we'll jump right into it. Thank you, Commissioner. How you doing?
I am great. It is
You're looking
always great
stunning
to.
and
Oh,
wonderful.
oh, thank you, sir.
Being your best part. I saw a sneak view of the small commercial that you did with the players as they came in.
My first TikTok.
Yes, I love that. That was brilliantly done, and it shows the other side, the lighter side.
Yeah,
And sometimes in this business world, we don't get to share that, and then there's some nuances. But the
yeah.
fact that you did it, tell us a little bit about why you decided to do it and why that's important.
Well, when the staff was talking about all the stuff that they were going to do with the students, I was, well, I want to do something
Awesome,
too.
awesome.
I want to have, have fun. Like you said, show a different side. We want to be serious about what's going on, but there's always a fun side to it. And I absolutely loved it because the student athletes were giving me direction. Okay, you need to do this. Okay, put your glasses on. And then I'm like, I'm just
It's serious.
love.
That's
Yeah, they were
good.
serious about that thing.
That's good.
So, and just like let go and have fun. Let's do it.
Awesome. Other thing I want to talk about is I got a chance to be here a little early, so I know you have all the meetings,
Yes.
and a lot of folks were so mesmerized. I don't know if that's the word I want to use, but they really appreciated the fact that when you had one of the meetings, you said, all right, let's get all these rumors out of the way. Let's talk about it.
Yes.
And you addressed it on the table with them. I
Yeah.
don't know how much you want to share now. You
Absolutely.
will always open to do that.
I share everything with you.
Yeah, you do. You do. And I appreciate that. But I want to be polite in terms of how we get to it because I know some things are business and some things you can share and some
Sure.
things you can't
Mhm.
just because of the nature of the business.
Correct.
Obviously, on the media side, it's our job to ask to see if we can get it.
Yeah.
But there's a side that you have to do.
Yeah.
There's been the talk out there about expansion.
Mhm.
Where are we with expansion? And is it true in terms of some of the expansion teams, New Haven or whatever?
Mhm.
How is that coming along?
So we're nowhere yet. We're still vetting. New Haven is vetting to make sure that they're going to be a good fit for the MEAC, and we're doing the same thing. So there's nothing.
Imminent, as they say.
Nothing imminent, and there's still Division 2, and right now there is a moratorium on membership into or reclassification into Division 1. So we're at a holding pattern until we figure out with the transformation that's going on in Division 1 to figure out what Division 1 is going to look like. And so it's kind of, you can't rush it, and the MEAC is in a good state right now. We're good. We're solid. We have the commitment of our Elite 8 member institutions, so we're good. But we want to make sure that we're methodical about what we do and how we bring in member institutions.
That's fair. In terms of the strategic plan, you talk about the lead 8,
Mm-hmm.
6 of them playing football. The
Mhm.
talk was out there with Howard.
Yes,
You came on the show and addressed that up front.
absolutely.
And soon after that, a statement and a final
Mhm.
decision came out for Howard.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've gotten the credit, and I hate to see it as a gender bias, but I call it like I see it. But I think that was a significant statement from a commissioner at any level,
Mhm.
as we see all the conference churning, as we like to talk about in the academic, that you were able to keep the MEAC together, keep it strong, and as you like to talk about the Elite 8, which includes Howard University in
Absolutely.
terms of that final decision coming down. What can you share about your ability to put forthright in terms of the presidents and the chancellors of the
Mhm.
MEAC in regards to we are strong, we are
Mhm.
elite, and we have a product that people want to see,
Hmm.
and a strategic plan that talks about moving them together
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah, so the great part is the commitment from the entire council, presidents and chancellor, and so they are tremendously engaged in where they want athletics in the conference to go. And so having we have the talk about Howard, and I say, Howard is committed before the statement comes out. And, I look at the blog and they say she a liar because I know Howard. And I'm like,
That's
well,
what we're saying.
I thought you believe in me because I believe in Howard and I believe in the MEAC, and I know we are committed as a institution. So it's tremendous, but what's important is the focus on the stability and the strengthening the foundation of the eight. So working on the strategic and long range plan of knowing where we're going as a conference, you got to have a plan. So if you don't have a plan, then of course, institutions are going to get antsy like, okay, but what are we doing? Where are we going? Is there a plan to add additional members? And so you have to put in the work. You have to show the vision as a conference, and you have to have the buy-in from the members.
Great point. Last question, I wanted to give you a chance to share any information, anything to the people that support the MEAC in regards to at any level that I didn't ask you previously.
Well, again, we created the MEAC Nation Association that is there for our fans and our supporters, from our current members to those who were formerly in the conference, like Hampton, A&T, Savannah State, Winston-Salem, so that they can stay connected to the MEAC family, connected to the HBCU culture, right? Everybody, and and our committee is derived from individuals from all those institutions, so that we can work on improving our revenue generation for institutions. Party with the purpose, as you can see from my TikTok, I can party.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it. And as much as you party, the business that you are taking care of, because I got a chance to go in yesterday as they were putting everything together for what's going to be the showtime a little bit after this in terms of ESPN Plus, where all the coaches and center stage, the electronic component they put in the background, the state of art, top notch. Last thing I said I was gonna have one, but I will get you off on this one.
What's that?
Because I know the time is just like, why was it important to do it at that level?
Wow, I think Dr. Thomas, former commissioner, he always said, you don't want to be in the curve, you want to be ahead of the curve, and we have great football, and what a great way to show what we do in that manner. You give the student athletes, when they look at it, to see, we're putting everything into giving them a great platform. And I snuck over there a little bit, and I'm like, oh shoot, I'm a man. I'm like,
I want to get on the stage.
I'm like,
I know that's right. I'm trying to find my way to stick me up there. I can do it.
Shoot.
Nice. I got a couple of pictures of all the viewers, so we'll make sure that show keep up with us on Facebook. Keep up with the MEAC, Madam Commissioner Sonja Stills, in terms of the work that she's doing. Tremendous job of moving this conference forward, not just holding it together, but big things, big season in front of us, not just for football, but the rest of the sports. So I want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for all the tremendous work that you're doing. I'm excited about covering HBCU sports, which means covering the MEAC.
That's right.
In terms of they move forward. So
let's do
continue. You'll see me around getting it done.
Oh, I expect to.
No doubt about it. This is Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab. We'll be right back after this last break, and we'll close things off. Again, Madam Commissioner Sonja Stills of the MEAC. Thank you.
Thank you.
Follow the Black College Sports Network and all of our shows on YouTube. You can find us at MyJBN Online and on all social media at MyBCSN1.
I have in me the ability to make you a better you. So if you work hard, focus, stay on point, you can do anything. Trust me.
We made this track to tell everybody they can follow their dreams.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and parenting education coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Having excitement, man, 2022. MEAC Football Media Day. It has not let us down. It's been big, and it's continuing on. You know, I had a little tease there. You wasn't able to give me, and I appreciate you giving the space for Madam Commissioner.
Absolutely, I'm gonna get up. Hey, I know how to wipe my feet off and leave when it's time.
You're a gentleman and a scholar.
There, I try.
As they say a lot of it. But it was teasing out there. Did any of the dialogue that you had with some of the coaches, and I think you started to talk about Howard and you got into it. So, again, want to ask you, did you change your predicted order of finish?
Well, I'll tell you what, I haven't changed it, but I was almost there.
I got you.
I was almost there. Now, as you were talking to Coach Scott, I was actually talking to his players, Quentin Williams and Darian Brokenberg. And I tell you what, you know, if you look at what they've done in the past, again, Quentin Williams has been there a long time. You talking about the quarterback that took over basically for Kalen Newton when he was at Howard. He's been there ever since, been in that position. And so when you look at the way that Howard, you know, at times has struggled, they have a lot of experience coming back and really have picked up some pieces in recruiting as well, talking about Eden James. But they also talked about, you know, the running backs and core that they already have. So they're loaded. And that defense played, you know, they don't get a lot of credit, but definitely led by Brokenberg, you know, who was also their punter, you know, ironically, which and has done well. You know, may be able to take that next step. They are confident. They see what's going on. They hear the naysayers, but, you know, they try to block out the noise and just, you know, keep their head down and just play.
Yeah, great points that you're making there, and you hit on all of it. I'm excited about this season just in general for HBCU sports, whether that is the MEAC that we're here now. They certainly have you lathered up a lot of talent in the league, whether you go all the way back over there to the SWAC. Starts off in a lot of ways with the MEAC SWAC Challenge, but then you have the CIAA, the SIAC, some great matchups in terms of what takes place. And then what we have our independent programs.
Yes.
In terms of what's going on. As we kind of have this momentum here, and this is the last one of the 4 HBCU, if you would, conferences, and really the last one with all our independents. They pretty much all had their media days. What are some of your final thoughts as you kind of reflect on all this?
Well, I've kind of talked about this before. Just I'm curious to see, can that momentum be capitalized on? And what I mean by that is the eyes on the product. A lot of times we talk about the pageantry, and you know, definitely is a factor. But along with that, the quality of football being played in all these conferences are definitely top notch. You know, I know a lot of people like to, you know, not necessarily look down, but don't think the quality of football is not where it is in comparison to, of course, Group of 5, you know, Power 5, or even some FCS conferences or other FCS conferences. But the quality of football here, especially coming back into where you have routine, will be better than I think it was last year. So I think when you're talking about it really in all these conferences, I think one of those conferences that gets lost in the shuffle, and I was listening to it as I was driving up here, is the CIAA as well. You know, they're known to be a basketball conference, but I think the quality of football there is played at a high level. When you're talking about the MEAC, when you're talking about these teams being a united front, I think the quality of football here, as teams are getting recruits and are also having more experience, I think that quality of football will elevate. So, you know, I'm looking for, you know, better X's and O's, just better quality play. And we talk about the momentum of recruiting in the SWAC. I think the MEAC has gotten some of that too, even with fewer teams. So just look for that this year coming up.
Great point. balancing all those ships. It'll be fascinating to see what that looks like. I want to say thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcasts and our streaming platforms with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, and coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, obviously with our adjunct professor, Jamie Walker, standing on stage giving you the best that he does in terms of writing. Make sure you check him out as he's on Twitter.
Yes, on Twitter at SportVoiceJW. SportVoiceJW. You'll see me probably on everybody's shows. The ultimate utility guy.
Yeah, man, we appreciate it because he comes in and does a lot of great work in terms of utility in the field, and then behind the mic in terms of getting those key hits. It's big, and then he's actually out there leveraging the platform as he does play-by-play for a lot of the various levels inside HBCU and outside of it, providing a voice that is connected with HBCU. So we appreciate him for that. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Watson, Charles Bishop, every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. We'll be back next week to give you some updates. Tried to give you all the coaches, like I said, they're moving around. With that being said, this is Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, DrKenyattaCavil on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I think we got one more. Let's hold it up. We got Coach Milstead, Delaware State. I think he's searching for us over here coming this way.
We will see.
See if we can get him in here before we sign off in terms of what's going on there. And we'll get him locked up. Yep, he's coming this way.
Right. So I'm going to get off of here.
Make that move, and then we'll hold on to this close to get this in here. Certainly want to get Coach Milstead in terms of what he's able to do. Appreciate you, Coach. Just in time. I think we was going to close it out, but we saw you coming this way with this bead. We was like, no, we're going to get this one. We're going to get this one in. We're going to get this one in. So go ahead. Get you ready to go. Again, this is Coach Milstead, Delaware State University. How has your football media day been going thus far?
So far, so good. Enjoying the conversations. It's always a good day when you're able to talk about Delaware State University football.
I love it. Talk a little bit about the players that you brought with us. I've been kind of asking this question to a lot of coaches. For me, it's always unique from my perspective when you have to pare it down to two guys and finding out why a particular coach decide to bring the guys that you bring in terms of a media day.
Well, this year was difficult. Offensively, we have a young man that I thought about bringing, but he was in an internship program that he couldn't leave. And so I went down to who's the next guy that I feel knows a lot about our offense, and it's no brainer. It's Bazette Woodley. He's been starting since he was a freshman, a true freshman. His freshman year, he got the ultimate goal and our dream, and to be on ESPN, you got Moss, and be recognized for that against a play against Bethune-Cookman. And so it's a no-brainer. It's a young man that I personally recruited myself and brought to Delaware State, and he has bought into what we're doing, and there's no other player that can exemplify what Delaware State football is a guy who's come and started his freshman year just like his head coach.
I really get a chance and appreciative of getting to talk to you last season doing the weekly media sessions that we have. And one thing that I always get from that is just the straightforward, the way that you talk about the game of football and your team. And it gives me a great appreciation. Does that really turn over to the players in terms of how you seem to motivate them as young men about this is bigger than just the game, about setting you up for life?
Absolutely. Football's a vehicle. I've said it a million times, and some people kick back by it, but it's a vehicle. It takes you to a destination. It's not something you can play in your 60s or 70s. I know Tom Brady's trying to make me a liar.
Break all those rules. But at some day, he's still going to.
Exactly. At some point, he's going to have to put that jersey up and hang that helmet up. And I want our guys to understand, enjoy it while it lasts, regardless of where your destination may take you. Your destination may not take you where Coach Milstead's destination dropped him off. Okay, yours may take you after college and then you're done. Yours may take you farther than Coach Milstead, but one day you're going to have to hang that helmet up, and when you hang it up, you have something else to fall back on.
Really nice schedule that you got set up with some big time games. Conference on the back end, obviously, but front you have non-conference game. As we get into that, tell us about on the offensive side of the ball. Who are some of the key players we can look forward in terms of some of those matchups this year?
Oh, I'm excited. I'm truly excited. This is the first year since I've been the head coach that we've had an opportunity to have our starting quarterback come back. Okay, Jared Lewis was a sophomore last year. He'll be a junior this year. He's really just took command of that position at quarterback and made it his own. He was very disappointed last year. He thought that his work had earned him an opportunity to be on one of those all MEAC teams, and it didn't happen. So that's something that's over top of his locker.
Chip.
That's something that's over top of his locker. He's a big playmaker for us. A big part of our success offensively was because of his arm and his legs. And so he's excited. Our receiving core, of course, we lost Trey Gross and Quanah Colley, but we got Bezette Woodley, who's been there. And one thing that Trey and Quanah did was they mentored the younger guys. Okay, that we had. We had a core of freshmen and sophomore receivers that didn't get a lot of playing time last year, but got a chance to watch Trey, work with Trey, watch film with Trey, and learn how to be a Division I football player. And this offseason has been remarkable once they got their opportunity. Offensive line, we lost two. We went out and got two. We had four freshmen, true freshman offensive linemen that we developed in our program, and now they've had a 20 season that we didn't play, a 21 spring. They've had a 21 fall. They're ready to go.
Good.
So offensively up front, we're going to be in decent shape. And of course, everyone wants to know what happened to our running back. He transferred. That's the transfer portal.
Yeah.
That's part of the new process of football now. Instead of giving him the ball 20 to 30 times a game, we give it to 5 or 6 different running backs, and we keep fresh legs going forward. So that's going to be our philosophy offensively. Defensively, I mean, the stats don't lie. Number 1 defense in the conference, and all those guys are coming back. So hopefully we've matured, which I think we have. I think the immaturity last year of playing a lot of freshmen really helped us. And so we're excited about this upcoming season.
Yeah, that defense is talented. I'm not sure a lot of people really have realized just how much talent is on defense. As you said, stats tells you a lot, but that linebacker core, the tenacity of the front four, if you would, and then the back end, a lot of talent out there and kept you in a lot of games last year. So give us a couple of more names on defense so we can keep our eyes on.
Well, you got Isaiah Williams, first team all conference, and Asayas Guthrie, first team all conference defensive back. Okay.
I just wanted the people to hear.
Kamari Jackson. You got Brooks Parker. He's an outside linebacker, senior outside linebacker. And then we have a host, Aiden Weber, Mario Goins inside, internal linebackers, Jesus Robinson inside. Our defensive backs, you got Jawan Granger, who was here last year, who graduated, could have put his name in the portal to go someplace else. He comes back to be with us. Romel Harris, probably one of the taller defensive safeties in the league. He's 6'4" and a half. Safety that's coming back. And we got Charles Peeler, who transferred in from Arizona a few years ago on the short side, but one smart football player. So our defense hasn't changed. The same guys you saw on the program last year. And this year they're 1 year more mature and looking for competing for this championship.
Coach Milstead, share with us anything that I didn't ask you that you want to make sure people understand about the Delaware State University Hornets and the football program particularly.
Well, the one thing that you'll see that's going to be different this year is going to be consistency. Last year I felt that we were a little inconsistent at times. I felt that we started games off slow and then tried to kick it in. And so this year, this offseason really focused on being more consistent and playing top football as soon as the ball is kicked. We can't spot a team a quarter, a half, and then want to turn it on. We have to come out the gate smoking, all cylinders rolling, because that's what good football teams do.
No doubt about it. This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. You heard it here at the 2022 MEAC Football Media Day from Coach Milstead. Delaware State Hornets, look for them to do some big things this year. Know what they do on the defensive side, but now they're going to have an offense that's going to support it as well. Should be an interesting season. I'm excited about the Hornets and what they get done on the football field. Thank you for your time, Coach.
Thank you.
This is Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Let's go to another commercial. I see that we are getting to the top, and it's about time for the tune over. But come back with us, and we'll see if we can give you one last break. And stick with us. We'll be right back after that break.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
HBCU League Pass. Watch your favorite black colleges. Some of the best players in the land. HBCU League Pass. It's game time. I'm proud and I love my HBCU. HBCU League Pass. Watch your favorite black colleges. Some of the best players in the land. HBCU League Pass. It's game time. I'm proud and I love my HBCU.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a law left and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. I'm so used to talking into my own mic.
I know.
Pick it up, looking at all these different things going on. We're winding down, and I think we brought it up to the top of the hour. I see Coach Odums doing the last interview. We're going to see if we can sneak on maybe just a little bit and bring him in when we would get everybody. If not, we'll certainly bring it to you. So I'm going to bring it back to Jamie again as you break it down. What are some of the key games that you're looking forward in terms of particular matchups that you would identify and say, hey, these are some games if you're just into HBCU football, certainly if you're a MEAC fan, these are the games that you should keep your eyes on because they may be ones that are surprising in terms of upsets or key matchups that are going to determine a championship between the teams that you see at the top.
Well, there's a couple of teams that I think merit that. Definitely South Carolina State versus North Carolina Central. I think when you're looking at the way that defense is stacked up, Jablonski Green coming off the edge, that defense is perennially good. In other words, they, up front, they're able to stop the run. You have a dynamic quarterback in Davius Richard, who from Central, who can absolutely sling the ball along with his mobility, being able to run. I think it presents a unique because he's proven that he can increase his passing. What I gathered from Corey Fields of South Carolina State is that he's been targeting his completion percentage in particular. He wants to be able to be a better passer. And if you saw that second half of that Celebration Bowl, he's more than capable of doing it. So I think it's a possible shootout, but I think that game is one of those games that you look at in the MEAC that could determine the winner along with games with Norfolk State. But just in general, when you're talking about HBCU matchups in general, if you go, let's say, hey, let's get into the SWAC, Jackson State versus Southern. I think it's one of those games because I think a lot of I won't say hype because Southern, last year showed flashes of being able to be a more than capable team. I think it'll demonstrate whether or not they play 1 week and then you see that same matchup again in the SWAC championship game. So, it'll be interesting to see just how they develop. But you got a lot of matchups, within all conferences that will determine a bunch of stuff. So we'll see what happens going forward.
I'm going to see if we can get to Herman Shelton. He was looking over here, but he didn't walk off. I guess he had to get on the phone because he's interviewed a lot of the players. So I wanted to get some of his perspective on the players, but we'll see maybe if we can get him back in a little bit. But with that being said, what were some of the things, as you also talked to a couple of players, and you mentioned throughout the show, but what are some of the things that have stand out about what you've heard the players say versus some of the great interviews we've had with coaches.
Well, definitely you can see the confidence growing within all of the players. I've talked to. I think the only players I didn't get to talk to were Dale State's players, and also Norfolk State's players weren't necessarily in the room. But when you talk to, especially, South Carolina State's players, you talk about Corey Fields, you talk about Jablonski Green, they exude confidence. They've been there.
People don't realize they're literally the next table
Yes,
over.
they are.
And they've had some significant media folks along with Norfolk State, obviously, Coach Odums being the local team. But just the way they've handled it,
Yes.
being up front, being sharp down, you can tell that they enjoy it, but they're about the business of being and representing South Carolina State. And it's going to be interesting to see how much does that translate on the field. Because as I said to Coach earlier, Coach Butterview, and he said it, and it can happen, but he likes to see where the players are. It's a little different when you have the bullseye on your back, right?
Oh, definitely.
So it's going to be interesting to see what that looks like, and you're talking about some of that. Anybody else?
I would say North Carolina Central as well. I think they found, they won that MEAC SWAC Challenge last year against Alcorn State. So they came in with confidence into the season, but kind of tailed off at the end, had some injuries, didn't play, like they wanted to. And talking to, Coach Oliver, they want to finish. They want to improve. And so they feel this is their opportunity to get into that Celebration Bowl as well. So looking at, both Brandon Codrington and Davius Richard, they also exude that confidence that you need going into the season. So, we'll see what happens with them. But I like where they are right now.
When you get back to it and you get on the other side, what are some of the things that you talk about as you go forward? As you say, the utility man. What are some of the things that are identifiers that you look at in terms of saying where a team is at a given time of the year?
Well, definitely. I love, and I've used this word before on other shows with me, because we're in the transfer portal world, and a lot of new players and shiny toys go to different spots, but it's nothing like the recruiting that you get in players that have been in a program for a long time, being able to know, especially when the head coach and those players are in place. It's nothing like having all of that in just having the continuity to be able to elevate your game based on that. You kind of finish each other's sentences, for lack of a better term. You know what you're getting in that team. It's great to have talent, and talent does win. But when you have a team that's been put together and they know their role with that squad, it's a great thing to see. So I like that kind of team, even more so than I like the shiny pieces at first.
Let me ask you this question, because you've lived in both worlds.
Yes.
You've had a chance with North Carolina being part of the Celebration Bowl, not the MEAC SWAC Challenge necessarily as of late, but now as you cover it and see what's going on MEAC, what are your thoughts in terms of starting the season with the MEAC SWAC Challenge, the uniqueness between the MEAC and SWAC, and then closing with the Celebration Bowl? What is that in general you see about that, and do you see it as unique and important in the overall landscape of the FCS space?
I think it's very important because I think when you're talking about, yes, HBCUs in this division are FCS teams, but I also think it brings together what you are in the cultural, example as well. I think beginning with the MEAC SWAC Challenge, and being on national TV, being able to have that kind of exposure, along with playing, who you may play in the Celebration Bowl, and just conference pride, I think is big. And then ending the season with that, getting to that game, I think it gives hope to be within that game, and along with putting a bow, literally celebrating the best of HBCU football, I think puts a great shiny bow on it. So I love the way it is, or it has been, just set out really for years to come, and hope it continues.
Yeah, with that, we're going a little long over there with Coach Odom, so I was hoping maybe we can get him in, but it looks like it might be a challenge in terms of what we're doing here. I wanted to say great thanks to Brian, as he's dealt with us trying to get all this in and spend a lot of time really helping us do the final production of this. We'll see if we can get through this outtake before we can sneak in, Coach. If not, we'll close it there. Again, I want to say thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab as we make sure that you share our podcast and your streaming platforms with your friends and our colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab of the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Watson and Charles Bishop. We had standing in our adjunct professor, Jamie Walker, bringing his knowledge and perspective of everything there. Oh, well, Coach got in.
Let's see if we can get it every time we're trying to wrap up the show.
Wrap up. This will be the last coach. See if you can pull.
Let me
up
see
over
if I
there.
can.
Yeah, while I hold it down to that, we're going to see if we can pull in Coach Odums coming over with his second stint in terms of HBCU. So he is coming. So we're going to be able to get all the coaches in. It's a big deal. This is appreciate Coach Odums in terms of what he's done with his stellar career. Now leading Norfolk State, the Spartans. Should be an exciting season in front of you. Get that all together for you, Coach. Appreciate you, Coach. How you doing? It's good to have you.
Always a pleasure.
Oh, man, pleasure all mine. But there, let's just jump into it. Talk a little bit about your team. What are the expectations? Obviously, the darling of the beat right here at home. A lot of folks are interested in the Norfolk State, and I think they should be.
Well, I think, anytime you get closer to the season, you got an opportunity for some anxiety to kick in. We know kickoff is right around the corner. Camps are approaching, and it's football season. And year two, I hope yield better results than year one. I think we got a good football team. We got a group of guys that understand our process a little bit better in year two, and hopefully we can get them going in the right direction. We got a great fan base, got a great institution that we're working for, and have great leadership in Dr. Adams Gaston and our president of the university and our athletic director, Melanie Webb. So we're going in the right direction. We're doing it the right way. We're chopping wood, carrying water, and falling in love with the process.
Yeah, I heard you talk about that over the years and have really had a great deal of respect over there at Southern and the SWAC. Now you transition to some of that framework, but I think it's important in terms of how you build a program in the MEAC and Norfolk State. So talk about why it's important and sometimes how long it takes to build the unique culture that talks about all four quarters throughout the season and making it to the final destination.
Well, it's very important, especially it's all about time frame. I think the hiring process is very important to that time frame. We got in late April, 1st of May, and that's a tough time frame to be able to put your process and philosophies in place, to know the place that you're working at. So everything's an adjustment and adaptability on the run. So you're adapting and adjusting every day because you don't really know the lay of the land. Year two, you're more comfortable, have a better understanding of the people you're working with, and you're gaining trust in them and they're gaining trust in you. Got a better relationship with your players, so they're trusting you and you trusting them. So it's tough. But I think once you get past that first year and you get the relationship stuff out the way, you're able to focus on football and process. And I think having spring ball to implement some of the schematic things that you're doing and the technical things that you want to work on, and then getting them here in the summer, and hopefully you continue to build on that. And then you come to fall camp healthy and you got a better outlook on the season. And I think that's where we're at going into year two. I think that's what give us a better outlook and give us some better promise as we get ready to go. And I think this football team will be ready. We got a lot of work to do, but I think they're willing to put the time in to be the best football team that we can put out there.
Let's go on the offensive side of the ball. One thing that I know about your teams is always being physical. That means running the ball, but also being able to make some big plays in the passing game. Or what can we look for on the offensive side of the ball for Norfolk State this year?
Well, we'll be a spread football team, and we're going to take whatever the defense gives us. And Coach Myers, our offensive coordinator, is doing an outstanding job of making sure that he prepared the quarterback position to understand that. You can't take everything away because you're an odd number. And when you're playing with 11, you're an odd number. You got 6 somewhere and 5 somewhere. So I think when you understand that in the conflict and putting guys in conflict, I think our offense does an outstanding job of creating conflict. And if we execute at a high level, we're going to be successful. Those guys do a great job on that side of the ball of trying to find the mismatch and trying to find a way to give our offense an opportunity to be successful. So we'll be spread. We're going to attack you, but we're just going to take what you give us.
On the defensive side of the ball, oftentimes people talking about attacking defense, but in a lot of ways that you just alluded to, defense, you're looking for those mismatches as well, trying to figure it out. But from a defense perspective, what can we expect from the defense of the Spartans?
Well, I think we'll be much, much better because of a second year. Second year coordinators, guys in the program for the second year. So I think communication. I think last year we had some communication breakdowns. We struggled in that department a little bit. But I think as you see us this year, you can see us a much better defense. And we return a lot of players. So we got a lot of depth in our 22 guys returning from a year ago. We got, I think, 19 of those guys coming back. So we got a great opportunity for some continuity on defense. And that, to me, is where it starts. If you can have great communication and play with great desire and effort and determination, you got a chance to be really good on defense. We had some schematic breakdowns a year ago. We didn't put a lot of stuff in because, again, we got here late. So now we're able to move forward and really get these guys coached up from a scheme and technical and fundamental standpoint. So as technique continue to improve, I think we're going to be a very good football team on defense as we get ready for this 2022 season.
I know you got to get ready to go, but the last question I wanted to ask was more in regards to the players that you brought today. Why were they chosen in terms of the guys that you want to bring? I know oftentimes it makes a statement in terms of a coach, and you could, if they would, you might bring more. But what was special about these two kids and why them?
Well, both guys are returning players for us. They're captains. They're leaders on a football team. They have their degree, so they're good football players and they're good people. Okay. They're pros in their craft and they're pro people, and that to me is what's important. And they echo what our process is all about. They look like our process. They sound like our process, and it's about A's, B's, C's, championships, and degrees. And they already have their degree, so they're falling in place. So I think. When you look at that as a coach, sometimes you bring the best players, sometimes you bring the guys with the best character. But at the end of the day, they got to be what your program's supposed to look like.
Last thing, I'll let you do it in terms of anything that I didn't ask you that you want to say to the Spartan fans or just in general to the listeners out there what they can expect about Norfolk State Spartan football.
Well, the biggest thing is that I think it's an exciting time. I think last year we had a taste of success. We're looking to see if we can take the next step in 2022. Got a good football team. We got some position battles that's going to take place. We got some uncertainty, but we'll figure that out through fall camp, and we got a challenging schedule. So get your tickets for those 5 home games and come support the Spartans. We need that support. We appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing all of you in 2022.
Thank you, Coach Odom. Always a pleasure. Thank you for getting a chance and getting in and telling us a little bit about the Norfolk State Spartans. This is Coach Odom bringing here for the 2022 MEAC Football Media Day, giving you all the insights you need to know as they get ready to tune in for the next side as they go to ESPN. Thank you for that extra time and getting over here to interview with us. It means a lot. This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Closing up on the show today, follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram as DrKenyattaCavil, Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, Facebook and Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on Twitter. Dream big, continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. For those that know it out there, course, lecture dismissed. Thank you.
Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. Man. I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball, So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.